Okay, so what we're talking about here are regular expressions. A very simple way of looking at how regular expressions work is by doing something that we call the replace. You can call the replace method on a string, and the replace method takes a regular expression as an argument. Well, what is an irregular expression? A regular expression is looking for a pattern in a string. For example, if I have a string like many of you, when you're interviewing, I did this. We were doing with the string Mississippi, right? So let's say we have this is let state name equal Mississippi. I could do state name dot replace, and then I pass it in what's called a regular expression. If I want to replace the I with an O, then I get Mississippi. What it did was it found the first instance of I, and it replaced it with an O. This thing here is, this part here is what we call a regular expression. A regular expression is a pattern that it's looking for. If you go to the RegEx1 website, you'll see a whole bunch of stuff on regular expressions. RegEx1.com. This is a whole course on regular expressions. We do not require you to know regular expressions to complete this program. However, it's something that you should at least be aware that it exists, because if somebody says to you a regex, you should at least know what it is, even if you don't know how to do it. So back to our regular expression. The regular expression starts off with, everything goes between these two slants, right? These slashes. That's where the rule goes. So in this case, it looks for the I, and it replaces it with an O. Well, that's fine and good, but what if I wanted to replace all of them? After the regular expression, I put a G. G stands for global, and now we have Masasapo. Masasapo, that's my boy. I used to know a dude named Masasapo. He was a hitman. So this is giving us, it's replacing the I's with O's, and it's doing globally. Now there's another flag. If we had something like state name equals, let's say it's Iggy Pig, right? And we want to replace that. It got Iggy Pog. So it didn't replace all of the I's. Can anybody think why it didn't replace all of the I's? It's capitalized. So the second flag that needs to be passed here is an I, which stands for insensitive. So now this gives us Augie Pog. So we're replacing the I's insensitively and globally. So with our Alejandra thing, I'll leave that up for another second just so you guys can see.
Does the order of your flags matter?
Great question, and no, it does not matter. So you could do that.
How many flags are
There's a ton. Yeah, there's a ton. But these are two of the most common ones. So back to our example with, so another thing that we can do is, you can decide regular expression is actually a JavaScript. It's almost like a data type. So we could say var regi equals new regexp, and then we can put our rule in here. Let's say we're replacing the ig. So it's kind of like this, but we're passing the two conditions that were in here and here. We're just passing them in new regular expression. And so what that allows us to do is we can just do string dot replace regi, and it still works. Again, this is advanced. This is for the future you. This is for you to look at in 6 months. Be like, I want to go back to that thing that Imute did on regular expressions because I'm ready now. Okay, so we actually have a very, very powerful power tool here now. Because what we could do is, we could do something then like this. Function, I think that was called single life, right? Single life, and it takes in a word. Or let's just say, no dupes, no duplicates. So I would make a new regular expression based on the first character of the word. I could say, let Reggie equal new RegExp, and then it's based on word 0. A new regular expression based on word 0. And case insensitive and global. Because word 0, if it's Alejandra, it'd be like this. New regular expression A. And then I would say I want to return. Let's just return all the duplicates removed. Word.replace Reggie with a empty string. So I call no dupes on Alejandra, and I get Alejandra. We're almost there. The only thing that we don't have is that we were supposed to keep the first letter, right? It's called single life because the first A gets to stay in the string and then all the duplicates of the A are removed. So how could we, does anybody know, how could we hook on the first character to all of this? Is there a way we could add it on? How do you add strings?
Could just string plus equals string of 0 or word.
Exactly. We could say word 0 plus that. And now we have Alejandro. So, only 2 lines of code. The solution that many of you turned in was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 lines of code. Regular expressions were designed to save time. I don't expect you to understand and digest it all now, but I'm exposing you because if someone asks you, oh, well, Donnie, what's a regular expression? He could say, well, it's a rule. It's a rule to manipulate a string. That's generally what regular expressions are. Rules to manipulate strings and numbers, but usually use it to manipulate strings. We use regular expressions to find out if it's really to find out patterns that exist. Like they use regular expressions to check phone numbers to make sure that it's the dashes are in the right place. They use regular expressions to check email addresses to make sure there's an @ sign. And after the @ sign, there's a domain, and then there's a dot, and then an extension like .com, .net, like a dot, and then at least 2 characters after that. Regular expressions do all of those things. Super, super powerful powerlifting tool.
If you were running, could you put that into a for loop so that you didn't have to like hard code word 0 in there? Could you take out?
You could do it in a for loop. However, for loops take more time. This is the fastest way in terms of computational speed and space and time. This is the most efficient and optimized way to do this.
And can we make this like a dynamic? Because over here it is just picking the value from the first character of the string and it's removing the remaining character. But I mean, suppose if we have a duplicate character in the middle of the things.
But we do have repeating characters in the middle. The A's are repeating. Like if we had this, like let's say we had Alejandra like that, it still works.
No, means I mean, suppose can you remove that A from the first character, just the first character of the word? Not here, on the call
Which line?
7.
Line 7?
Line 7.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, just I want to remove the A, the first A.
then it'll search for L's. It'll search for L's if he removes the first
Yeah,
name.
can you run it how it works?
Oh, okay. Well, how would the function know what to remove?
Yeah, that is because my concern here is over here.
You could do this. You could say Alejandra, and then if you want to move a J, like that, you could do that. And then take a second parameter as param. And then reg would be new express param. This is dynamic.
Yeah.
See, then now this will be J, 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 J. If we do that, it removes all the J's. So this is dynamic, yeah. Yeah, and the regular expression, this part here can be totally dynamic. And that's how you put because people will ask you, well, how do you put a variable in a regular expression? Because you're looking for a specific hard-coded thing. This is how you do it. All right.